I'll preface this by saying that my husband, 33, has a friend Carl, 33, who he considers to be one of his closest friends. My husband sometimes calls Carl his nicotine because of how much he misses him and wants to spend time with him. They do everything together. They're even co-workers working the same job. Unfortunately, Carlos's wife passed away from cancer 3 months ago, which caused him to distance himself. My husband felt devastated for him. He recently started spending more time with him and brought him meals and new clothes. We planned a 3-day vacation to another state. I made a hotel reservation for 2. Unbeknownst to me, my husband had invited Carl to come with us. This made me upset because it spoiled the entire vacation. Not trying to be dramatic, I only found out when he went to pick him up. I sucked it up after my husband explained that Carl is a recent widower who's been wallowing in grief for so long and needed this vacation. The problem is money is tight, and since Carl hasn't worked ever since his wife passed, he couldn't pay for his own room and we didn't have a budget for it. My husband said we should just share one room and I again sucked it, since he said we'd be out all day on the beach anyway. First night, I was in bed when my husband and Carl got back. I got woken up by my husband telling me to get out of bed and sleep on THD mattress he put for me on the floor, and he and Carl would take the bed. I asked if he was serious, and he asked what else is he supposed to do. He said Cole was a guest, we can't let him sleep on the floor, and at the same time I can't share a bed with Carl while he, my husband, sleep on the floor. I told him I didn't sign up for this, but he told me to suck it, and tried to pull Carl as a widower card. I told Carl to get out, then got up, and got dressed to go home. My husband started yelling me, calling me irrational, but I wasn't having it. I left the hotel and traveled back home. Carl didn't say anything when he saw me leave, except that I was making this non-issue an issue. They got back, and my husband refused to even talk about, but still said I ruined this for Carl and us, and acted abhorrently and disgustingly. I admit Carl is struggling, and I might ruin this for him, but I didn't even know he was coming. NTA. And also, I think your husband is fucking Carl. There's no way he's not fucking Carl. He woke her up to tell her get on the floor. Come on. NTA. Are you sure your husband isn't having an affair with Carl? Because this sounds like he might be. After all, he wanted his wife to leave his bed so his friend could share with him, even though logic dictates Carl should be the one on the floor as the uninvited guest. There are 2 of you. Your husband does not get to invite people without consulting you first. Also, it was not a non-issue. Clearly it was an issue, and anyone who says otherwise needs to get their brain checked, because there has to be something wrong for them to think that. Right? Why was Carl so okay with waking her up and forcing her to move so that he could share the bed with her husband? That's weird. Most guy friends prefer not to share a bed. Info. This was a 3-day vacation. You left the first night. Did your husband and Carl come home right away, or did they stay and finish out the trip together, sleeping in the same bed while you were at home? Because if it's the latter, I'd have some questions if I were you. I'm betting they stayed the whole time. He would have come to an empty house if it were me. She's the odd man out in this couple. NTA. This is pretty odd behavior. Why wouldn't your husband consider your needs as his wife? You ever consider they may be closer than just friends? I also loved how upset her husband didn't want to talk about it, but was still able to share his feelings about the matter by telling her she ruined it. Does Op not get a say about her own vacation? Why does he get to brush her off? NTA. That is so weird. I can't ever imagine a circumstance where my husband would kick me out of bed for a friend, no matter how much they were struggling. This is probably a stretch, but are you sure there's nothing going on between them? Even if it's not romantic/sexual, this relationship sounds unhealthily codependent. You said it before I could. This is going way past grieving widower territory. This is more like lovers having an affair and the wife is being treated like the third wheel. Edit. NTA. So, how long has your husband been having an affair with Carl? This utter disrespect for you surely signals the end of your marriage. The logic applied here is bizarre, and you've become the third wheel in their relationship. You're either being used as a beard, or your husband is in deep denial about his sexuality. It sounds like there are no children, So leave now while you can. You have my sympathy, but you would be foolish to stay past this point. NTA at all for going home. It was the only thing to do, given your choices. Definitely agree. NTA. Your husband needs a reality check on his priorities in a married life. He is a total asshole for asterisk slotting in a third party for what would be an expected couple's adventure out asterisk not even telling you beforehand. Clear sign he knew he was pulling an unacceptable act asterisk inability to comprehend in what world would this sleeping arrangement be suitable asterisk failure to see the fallout is his act of stupidity. Honestly, I wish you well, but your husband needs a hard wake up call. Also the husband might need to admit he's B. NTA. Your husband is clearly screwing Carl. Straight best friend is usually protective of his best friend's wife. Very weird Carl didn't offer to sleep on floor. That's what I was think my dude's bestie would never. If anything that guy treats me better than my partner and is always telling him to do nice stuff for me. The audacity. No NTA. You didn't overreact. You underreacted. NTA but are you sure that's just his friend? Serious red flags here. I get this vibe as well. If this is a true story NTA, and I'd be filing for divorce. Are you sure your hubby isn't gay? Sounds weird to me that on your vacation, he'd put you on the floor and he in the bed with his friend. Something is wrong with this picture. I had this complete thought. The husband is gay and into Carl. NTA, but this marriage is in the danger zone. He's prioritizing his friend over his wife to an extreme where I think they are more than friends. I would have a serious sit down with your husband about his behavior and relationship with his friend. Marriage counseling might help as well. FR like her husband is in love W Carl, whether he realizes it or not. NTA. The way that these two are acting are making me wonder if something else isn't going on. I'm sorry for Carl's loss, but the boundary stomping by both your husband and Carl are not okay. To be fair, we don't know what Carl has been told. Husband might be lying to both of them. NTA. Does your husband want fill in the role of Carl's deceased wife or something? If the floor is good enough for you, it's good enough for the third wheel. I'm wondering if they've always had a complex friendship, but it was easily covered by both of them having wives. Now one wife is gone, they've gotten too comfortable, and they are not masking the way they used to. NTA. This is so beyond illogical and rude. Who wakes someone up to make them move? Why would you force your wife into sleeping on the floor? Why didn't he at least ask before inviting Carl? Seems more like your husband is in a relationship with Carl than you, if it's only him he cares about in all things. Yup. Non-issue my ass. This is a big issue. Who on earth tells their wife to get out of bed and sleep on the floor because they want to cuddle with their friend? Calling someone your nicotine just highlights the toxic level of codependency. I was very prepared to think you were being a monster when I saw that Carl is a widower, but it sounds like you were incredibly reasonable and your husband kept pushing beyond the point of no return. NTA, you didn't ruin anything. Your husband and Carl did. Edit. It also seems like your husband is having an affair with Carl. Real Grace and Frankie vibes here. My first thought was Grace and Frankie. NTA. No shade here. I think your husband might be into men, specifically Carl. I'm not going to throw my wife to the curb for a friend. Compassion and empathy are one thing, but this is just plain insanity. Might want to get some therapy or have some hard converse. I would point blank be asking my husband if he's into Carl. At no time is it appropriate to invite someone on a couple's vacay without even discussing it with your partner and then wake that partner up and tell them to sleep on the floor. What the fuck? NTA. Info. Did you know you were your husband's beard before you married him? Right. I'm mortified for you. NTA whatsoever. Same. I can't imagine my husband doing this to me. And if he did, I'd walk off too and get rid. NTA. NTA. Your husband should have told you that he was in love with his best friend years ago. NTA. This is one of the craziest things I have read on here. There are so many things that are in here And the fact that both your husband and Carl thought you were irrational. WTF. Book yourself another holiday and go with a friend. Leave your husband and his BFF to it. Wow. You added too many F's to BFF. NTAX 1000. Your husband is prioritizing a friend over you, and that's not okay, even if that friend is grieving. There is a serious lack of respect and boundaries here. Also, your husband and Carl are giving off more than friends vibes. NTA. Your husband sprung an unwanted guest on you last minute for a vacation that his guest couldn't help pay for and then expected you to sleep on the floor. F*** that noise. If that was my husband, he would be sleeping on the couch when he got home. If that was my husband, he'd be sleeping at Carl's. I'd be seeing a divorce lawyer and a locksmith. NTA. This isn't about Carl. It's about your marriage and your husband's prioritizing Carl over you. Time for counseling or an attorney. Good luck. I agree. Although, if at 33 it isn't a no-brainer to prioritize your wife, I'm not sure that counseling would work. NTA. My husband sometimes calls Carl his nicotine because of how much he misses him and wants to spend time with him. This doesn't sound normal. Are you sure there's nothing going on between them?